to the Ripple Effect Podcast. My name is Jessica Ausbrook from Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union. Thanks so much for joining us today. We have a very special guest with us from the Salvation Army, Captain Kendra Hicksonbaugh. Hello, Captain. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. Let's talk about the Salvation Army, something you're very passionate about.
Yes, something I've been doing pretty much my whole life, something I've kind of grown up in, but we've been in Kokomo since July.
Okay.
So we're getting to know Kokomo.
So let's talk about the Salvation Army. Start from the beginning. Tell us about the organization.
Yeah, so the Salvation Army is an international organization. We are in over 130 countries. We have been around for, this year we'll celebrate 160 years. Every Salvation Army has a little bit different programs that they do. So depending on where you go, depends on what we do. Here in Kokomo, we have a food pantry that we're, from what I hear, we're one of the, well, I don't know how to say this. We have a good food pantry.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is a choice pantry, so individuals get to come in. It's like a teeny tiny little grocery store. Nice. It is a lot of fun, and my employees take such care with it. They make sure that all the labels are facing forward. She even puts it in alphabetical order.
Yes. I mean, I do the labels, but not alphabetical order.
And because we work with different organizations, we have fresh produce every week. We have all kinds of stuff. So we are very, very, very fortunate.
So you talked about the food pantry a little bit. Do you take donations, collect for canned foods or monetary donations for that?
Yes, absolutely. Both of those things. And so if you donate that to us, it'll get put into the choice pantry. And it can be kind of odd things too. Like one of the things that we look for, sauerkraut. Huh. I would never think to put that in there, but it goes. Beets, like things that I necessarily wouldn't think of.
I do like beets.
Yeah. And so we have quite the variety so that families can come through and choose what works best for their family. It's not just a bag put together with what I think. Mm-hmm. It's what will work best for them.
So how do they qualify? Can anybody come? How does the pantry work?
Yeah, so you just need to live in Howard County, and you can come in, bring in your ID and a piece of mail, and we'll get you all signed up for the food pantry. We are quite busy, so you may have to wait a little while, but once you get through, you'll get to walk through, and whatever we have is what we give away.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's great. Lots of things with the Salvation Army. Let's talk a little bit about your history, because this is a family thing for you.
Absolutely, yeah. So my husband and I our parents are both Salvation Army officers. I'm actually a fifth-generation Salvation Army officer, yeah. So all the way back to my great-great-grandpa on down have all just kind of fallen into it. So it's a part of who we are.
So I was asking you earlier on, where are you from? And you're like, well.
Right, yes.
So
yes.
You traveled. You grew up as kind of a nomad.
Yeah, my parents didn't join until I was about 15.
Okay.
My husband jokingly calls me a fake officer's kid because by the time they were done with the training school, I was 17, already knew that I wanted to do this. It was like a pre-internship. I was my mom's right-hand lady. And so, but yeah, I grew up in Central Illinois. Most recently, my husband and I came from Goshen, so we're not new to Indiana, just new to Kokomo.
And how does that rotation work? Are you going to be here for a long time? How do you know where you're going to go next?
Well, we don't know where we're going to go next, and we don't exactly know when. The average we stay is about 4 to 6 years, but you really don't know. That usually happens in about May, but we just got here, so we have a feeling we'll be here for quite a while.
Good. You like Kokomo so far?
We do. We love Kokomo.
Now, you said you have a daughter. Is she liking it so far?
Oh, yes. She loves the song Kokomo.
Oh, yeah.
When we were moving here, it was her theme song, and so we listened to it on repeat. She really enjoys it. She's made fast friends at church because our number one thing is we are the pastors and administrators of the Salvation Army. So we have church every Sunday, we have youth programs, and we were so excited because we wanted to make sure she had friends. And there are multiple little girls right around her age, and it's just so perfect.
Great. That sounds great. I think sometimes we forget that the Salvation Army is also a church on top of all the public service you do.
Yes. Yeah. My favorite, right now, I really like taking people through the food pantry. And then at the end, after we go through, and I'm like, hey, if you ever want to join us, that would be great, you know? So it's a lot of fun.
Everybody's welcome.
Yes.
When are services?
Yeah. So Sunday school opening, which is where I look like a fool and I dance with the kids and sing Sunday school songs.
That's the most fun.
It really is. I get out of breath. I'm just so into it. 9:30 is when that starts, and then we have Sunday school, which is kids and adults. I offer a class for the adults, which is like a Bible study. That's at 9:45, and then church is at 10:45.
How long's church?
It's about an hour, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more.
That's always something interesting I grew up Catholic.
Oh, okay.
So, start, finish, 1 hour on the dot, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, well, and It depends on who's preaching and what they're preaching on. My husband and I go back and forth. So actually, it should be his turn, but I'm doing 2 weeks in a row. So
Who's longer-winded, you or your husband?
Ooh, it depends it really depends. It really depends. I don't know. You'd have to come and find out.
All right, well, it's a time for sure.
There you go. You'll have to come and visit to find out.
Now, you were telling us you had a really great event a few weeks ago, and it was a community baby shower.
Yes. So we have this great partnership with Sam's Club where they donate things. So if somebody accidentally opens a package of water at Sam's Club, that comes to us.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So just yesterday, I had like 8 pallets of things.
Yay.
Yes, it was so wonderful, and those are things we can give out in the pantry. But one of the things that we get quite a bit of is newborn and size 1 diapers. And if you've had kids, you know those don't last very long. You're not in those for a very long time. And so we decided that we're going to do this this community baby shower. So anybody who's having a baby was just going to come, and we're going to do a party and some giveaways that we have. So it was good.
That's great. That's great. So if we weren't able to make it to the community baby shower, how do we donate?
Just bring it to our office. So it's 1105 South Waugh Street. We have our sign. It's where our social services is, because we also have a community center across the street. And so you can donate it to the social services, and then we have an area. And as people come in for the food pantry, if they say, hey, I also need insert whatever personal needs thing they might need, if we have it, we'll share it with them.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really
it's a
great.
lot of fun.
Are there any specific needs that you have? Are you looking for more, number 10 cans, or do you prefer the smaller cans?
So as far as food-wise, we definitely need regular size cans for your family, and then we need like spaghetti sauce and spaghetti and pasta. We get produce every week from Sam's Club, and from Aldi is a really great partner with us. But the canned goods are less likely to come in unless they got dented or something like that. So that's definitely what we need, is canned goods and cereals and things like that.
Canned goods, cereals, nothing that can expire, right, for a while.
Yeah, I mean, if it's close to expiring, we do have a section. We say, hey, this is getting close to date, just so you're aware. If you'd still like to take it, you can, but we want people to be aware of that.
And they're paying attention because they are in alphabetical order. So
Right,
we know,
exactly. See? Yes, absolutely. They are on top of it. And then monetary donations help as well, so that way we know the things that we need and we can go and purchase those if we're running low on them.
That's great. So walk us through like a typical day as Captain Kendra. What's your day look like?
Oh my goodness. There is literally no 2 days that are the same. If we're talking about this morning, I was supposed to be in about 3 places at the same time. My husband is out of town this week, so I had to drop the girl off at school. We had a meeting. I was going to try and clean off the sidewalks and all kinds of things. So there's never a common day, but I do love on Thursdays and Fridays when I get an opportunity to help take people through the pantry and things like that.
That's great. So is the pantry open only specific days?
Yeah, it's open on Thursdays and Fridays. It's open at 8:30 until 11:30 unless we get full, because there's only so much space to take people through where we're not running over each other. So once that gets full, they'll put a little sign out and say, hey, come back this afternoon. Then we open back up at 1 and go until about 3:30.
I think it's really interesting because you are a church.
Yeah,
and you're also an organization that does this, and it feels like it has to be very well balanced in order to get everything done on this side, everything done on this side.
We are fortunate to have 2 employees who run the food pantry. So when I am not able to be there, Jeannie and Nancy are on top of it. They've been doing it for many years. Honestly, I may be the boss. They are the experts. They are the ones who know what to do. I am constantly asking them. And they are so very good at what they do. And they're so very understanding when people come through. So it's very good.
That sounds absolutely great. So Salvation Army doing lots of great things in Kokomo. We talked about the community baby shower. Do you have any other events on the horizon as we get closer to the spring, summer? What does that look like for you?
I'm not exactly sure yet. This is going to sound kind of silly. It depends on what comes in. I get inspired by some of the donations.
Oh, I love that.
I get inspired because we're doing our best to stay within our means, and so we don't want to spend a bunch of money. But if I get a donation, I got a bunch of M&Ms. I got to figure out what to do with M&Ms.
Oh.
So as things comes up, we put them on our Facebook page and try and let people know so they can be involved.
Okay, so the Facebook page is what?
the Salvation Army Kokomo.
I think I need to find that. I'm not sure I'm on that Facebook
follow
page.
us. Yeah, we try and add things on there. We also do a youth program following church, and so we'll post pictures of our kids doing their youth activities and things like that.
I like that a lot. Now, is it common in the Salvation Army community that husband and wife do go places together if you're both officers?
Yeah, so the way that it works is you could be a single person. I fully intended to be single doing this, and then I met my husband, and he ruined that idea.
Won't they always?
Exactly. See? So you can do it as a single person. If you are married, then both of you do it, unless you choose to do it a little differently. You can be an envoy or something. But as far as if you're an officer, we do it together as a team. That can look different. And I love doing that because we get to play to our strengths, right?
Sure.
So I don't like to do the business side of things.
I wouldn't either.
I don't like to check email. I don't like to do the budget. None of those things.
You'd be in marketing.
Yeah. So please don't make me do it. But he loves that stuff. And so he gets to do those kinds of things. Whereas I would much rather, I'm the one that drives the truck and picks up the pallets of food and the donations. And we get to decide what that looks like. So it's a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It does.
is.
So maybe somebody interested in learning more about the Salvation Army, to donate, to get donations, that type of thing. But what if someone is interested in becoming an officer with the Salvation Army?
Well, you have to start with becoming a part of our church.
Okay.
So if you would come and you want to be a part of our church, then we go through something called soldiership. We do these military terms, right?
Right.
Captain, officer.
Well, yeah, it's the Salvation Army.
Exactly. It was real popular back when we started, and we just kind of kept on with it. You would become a soldier, and then once you're a soldier, if you feel that calling, because it's not... While I may be a fifth generation, I did not become an officer because my family was. We felt that God called us to that. I cannot imagine doing anything else. And so if you are a soldier and you feel that calling, then we start working through the process of getting to the training school and going from there.
And it's not like just teenagers. I mean, you think, okay, they're going into something they want to learn all about. You mentioned that your parents started later.
Oh, yeah. The people in my session, so my classmates, ranged in age. I was one of the babies in the session. I was 21. And then we had people all the way into their 50s. So it can be any age.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's fun. It definitely is. Now, what else do we want folks to know about the Salvation Army? What have we not covered?
Well, I think the biggest thing is like I said, we're number one a church, and we want to do things holistically. So you can come in for food pantry. You do not have to be a believer. It has no prerequisites to those things. But if you come and you are looking for that, we will always be happy to talk to you about that and to share what we know, because we want to be a ministry that, well, our mission statement is we're an international movement, an evangelical part of the Christian church. Our message is based on the Bible. Our ministry is motivated by the love of God. And our mission, and this is the most important part, our mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and to meet human need in his name without discrimination.
I think that's a really interesting thing to say, without discrimination. So like you mentioned, folks don't have to be on that path to finding God.
Right.
They might already be there, or they might not be interested.
Right. And it doesn't matter. We want to serve people and, like it says, meet human need. Everybody needs food. Everybody needs something. And so we are happy to provide that. And if you want to go the next step, we're happy to do that with you too.
What a great way to transition. You're finding your first, if you've never been to church before, finding your first church, going in, hearing about the services, I think that's great.
Yeah, and then we get through the pantry and we get all the way done, and I'm like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm the pastor. You wanna
How
come?
cool am I?
You want to come
We
hang
had
out
so
with
much
me?
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We were hanging out. We were having fun. You want to continue this?
Come to church.
See you Sunday.
All right. Anything else we want folks to know about the Salvation Army?
Just that, my husband Joseph and I are really excited to be here. For us, it is a ministry that we are passionate about. Our daughter is involved in it. So if you want to bring your kids, bring your family, we just want to see people come to know Jesus, and we want to help people as much as we can.
How do we find you?
So like I said, our Facebook page, and then we are at 1105 South Wall Street. I do not have our phone number memorized yet, but I do know that if you go on Google, it is on there, and you can just hit the call button.
All right. That sounds great. Captain Kendra, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And for folks who want to find you, you're at the Salvation Army.
Absolutely.
That will wrap up our episode of The Ripple Effect for this week. Thanks so much for watching.